images right below this video in the description. We're gonna start out with these two layers, the photo frame background and the snow border. I have them on two separate layers, of course. And what we wanna do is we wanna isolate this black area here. We can of course create a selection around the black area to isolate it, but I like working with vectors better because they give you smaller file sizes and they're easier to edit. So we're gonna create a vector around the frame. So I'm gonna press Z on the keyboard. I'm holding the Z key, I'm not letting go of it, and I'm gonna zoom in to the corner here and release the Z key. It'll bring me back to the pen tool, which I have selected. Make sure that you have shape on the options panel on this drop down. Click on one corner and click on the next. Hold the space bar, pan down, click on the bottom right corner, and then click on the bottom left corner. I'm gonna hold the space bar again, click and drag to pan up, and complete that path. Now the color of the shape really doesn't matter, so I'm just gonna make it red just so that you can see it. There it is, red. What I'm gonna do now is enable the layer for the snow border. I'm gonna click and drag her up to the top of the layers panel, and I'm also gonna double tap here on the zoom tool just so we can see the image at 100%. And actually, now that I'm looking at it at 100%, I'm actually going to right click on it and choose fit on screen so that I can see the entire composition. Then I'm going to press Ctrl J, Command J on the Mac to duplicate. So now I have two copies. I'm going to disable the one on the top by clicking on this eye icon, and the one on the bottom here, I'm going to clip to the shape below it. So with that layer selected, I'm going to press Ctrl Alt G, Command Option G on the Mac. Then I'm going to enable the layer right above that, and I'm just going to make a selection around the snow border. So I'm going to click on the quick selection tool, and I'm simply going to click and drag around her. Now you don't have to be very precise at this moment, you can just click and drag, and we'll worry about the details later. So we're just going to select her as quick as we can. So I'm just clicking and dragging. Notice that my selection is not very accurate. You shouldn't spend too much time at this moment. If you select an area like this part here that is obviously not going to be part of the selection, I'm going to hold Alt, Option on the Mac, click and drag to refine that selection just a little bit more. Now that I have the selection active around the snow border, I'm going to select that top layer and click on the layer mask icon to create a mask around the snow border. So what I'm going to do now is click on this top layer, hold shift and click on the layer below it so they're both selected. And I'm going to click on this little chain link icon here to link those two layers. What that allows you to do is when you move one of those layers with the move tool, it moves both. And they can be in different groups and they can be separated, so that allows us those two layers together. What I'm going to do now is press Ctrl T, Command T to transform, to scale this and adjust it accordingly. If you can't see the corner handles that you want to click and drag on, you can press Ctrl 0, that's Command 0 on the Mac, for the bird's eye view that allows you to see it. You shouldn't spend too much time at this moment. If you select an area like this part here that is obviously not going to be part of the selection, I'm going to hold Alt, Option on the Mac, click and drag to refine that selection just a little bit more. A chain link icon here to link those two layers. What that allows you to do is when you move one of those layers with the move tool, it moves both. And they can be in different groups and they can be separated, so that allows us to keep those two layers together. What I'm going to do now is press Ctrl T, Command T to transform, to scale this and adjust it accordingly. If you can't see the corner handles that you want to click and drag on, you can press Ctrl 0, that's Command 0 on the Mac, for the bird's eye view that allows you to see all four corner handles. And I'm going to click and drag this one here to scale it down. I'm holding Shift, Alt, that's Shift, Option on the Mac. Now at this point, we can go back and adjust the layer mask if we need to. So I'm going to zoom in just so we can see the areas that we need to work on. So we need to work on this area and then the blue outline around her body. So we can adjust that by clicking on the layer mask in the properties panel. you can click on Mask Edge. If you don't see the Properties panel, you can go into Window, Properties. Click on Mask Edge, and then maybe shift the edge with a negative value, and see how that's adjusted. So keep adjusting it, and making sure that that line is gone, but we don't lose any detail that we want to keep. Also, with this brush selected, I can click and drag here on the hair. Composite looks much more realistic and much more interesting. So from the Adobe stock library, I downloaded 2 elements we're gonna use. We're gonna use this shovel with snow, so let me just double click on that to open that up. And by the way, the links to these files are on the description. You have to download them from Adobe stock. They're not free, but you can use a watermark, in this case, the blue channel. I'm gonna click and drag on the blue channel and drop it here in the new channel icon, duplicate. Now with the duplicate channel, I can start making adjustments to it. The first thing I'm gonna do is fill with white on the areas that I wanna keep for sure. So with the lasso tool selected, I'm just gonna click and drag and make a very rough selection of the areas that I know for sure I wanna keep, which is all this top part here. Now that I have the selection active, I can fill with white. White is currently my foreground color. To fill with the foreground color, you can hold Alt and Backspace, Option, Backspace on the Mac, then Control D, Command D on the Mac to deselect. Now we gotta work on this bottom part. There's a feature in Photoshop called Apply Image. If you go into Image, Apply Image, what Apply Image allows you to do is to take an image and apply it onto itself using a blend mode. In this case, we're taking the blue copy, applying the screen blend mode onto itself. So notice what happens here on the snow on the edge. It essentially turns white, which is what we want. You could also, of course, apply a multiply blend mode and it'll give you a different result. In this case, I think I'm going to go with screen, and then I'll just work on the edges in the next step. So I'm going to press OK, and what I'm going to do now is go into Image, Adjustment, Levels, and bring the levels right, the dark values to the right, so we have more contrast between the snow and the ground. And remember, we're going to be making a selection. Anything that's white in this screen will be selected, anything that is black will be deselected. So I'm going to drag this one to the left a little bit. I'm looking at the edges here. And maybe drag this one to the left as well. And press OK. Now, what I'm going to do now is click on the brush tool, select black as my foreground color so I can paint with black. I'm going to increase the size of my brush by clicking on the right bracket key on the keyboard, and I'm just gonna paint with black. And again, and notice now that the floor is no longer there. Now it's not a perfect selection, but it's gonna work because the color of the floor and the color of the table are very similar colors, and I think we're gonna be able to get away with it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna simply click on the layer, select the move tool, click and drag the layer over onto the other file by hovering over the tab, and then coming down and releasing, and there's our file. It's a really big layer, so we're gonna need to scale it down. Control T, Command T on the Mac, transform. We can't see the corner handles, so I'm gonna press Control 0, Command 0 on the Mac. There's the corner handles, and now I'm gonna adjust them accordingly. I'm holding Shift as I'm clicking on these corner handles to keep the file constrained. The angle's not really matching my scene, so I'm going to right click on it and choose Flip Horizontal. And from here, I can match the scene a little better. I can even distort it if I want to. Maybe right click on it and choose Distort just to get a better perspective of the scene that we're working with. Maybe something like this. And press Enter when you're done. Now that we have this file group, I'm going to click and drag this snow layer in there. I'm going to collapse it, and now it's in that group. Next, I'm going to hold Alt, Option on the Mac, and click on the layer mask icon to create a black layer mask which hides everything. Then, with the brush tool, I can paint with white on this layer mask to start revealing some of that snow. So I'm going to use the bracket keys on the keyboard as I work to increase and decrease the size of my brush. So I'm just these snow elements that were also downloaded from Adobe stock. By the way, if you don't have Photoshop CC, you won't have the libraries panel, but you can still download the watermark previews onto your desktop and bring them into Photoshop as you would any other image. So you can still work with the previews. So what I'm going to do now is just select one of these elements and bring it over to the file that I'm working with. So I'm going to click on the lasso tool and I'm going to select this element first. So I'm going to select it, go to edit and copy, or you can press Ctrl C. I'm going to deselect that element, Ctrl D, Command D on the Mac, go back into the file that we're working with, and I'm going to paste it here, Ctrl D, Command D on the Mac, and there it is. Now in this case, I'm going to flip it horizontally. So right click on it, flip horizontally, and keep rotating it. So maybe something like this. And I can, scale it more if I need to, or rotate it more if I need to. So whatever distortions I need to do for it to work. So maybe something like that. So I just press enter to accept that transformation. And I'm going to use one more element. I'm going to use this one right down here. Again, Control C, copy, and paste that in here. Change the blend mode to screen. Control T to transform. That's Command in the Mac. Control 0. Command 0 on the Mac. And scale this one in as well. And zoom in. And rotate this one into position. Maybe right about here or something like this. Actually, I just realized that I made a mistake. Notice how this element gets cut up right in this area? That's because this element needs to be right here. It needs to be in between the layer that's popping out of the subject and the layer that is set to the vector. So right in between those two. So now the snow follows through into the frame. Now the last thing we're going to do is we're going to work with shadows. So first of all, the snow here in the table, it needs a shadow. So I'm going to right under the frame and just brought the intensity down to about 25% using multiply. And notice the light is coming from the right. The light on her face is coming from the right, and so is the light hitting the frame. So you sort of want to match that with the shadow. So the shadow would be on the left side, sort of like here behind the frame. So this is what this is showing. If I were to bring it up to 100%, this is what that looks like. Obviously that's too much, so leave it at about 25% or so. And what I'm going to do now is right above this snow element here, I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm just going to paint with this color here under the board. So you can click on the layer up on top of the group and just continue painting that shadow that's coming off the board. So maybe something like this. And then change the blend mode to multiply and bring that shadow way down. So maybe Now the only difference between the final image that you saw in the beginning and this one is that with the final image I took a little more time working with the mask, a little more time placing the elements and moving things around so they fit a little bit better. But these are the techniques that I use to create this effect. If you decide to create an image using this tutorial or any of my tutorials, then upload it to Instagram with the hashtag PTC, those two layers together. What I'm going to do now is press Ctrl T, Command T to transform, to scale this and adjust it accordingly. If you can't see the corner handles that you want to click and drag on, you can press Ctrl 0, that's Command 0 on the Mac, for the bird's eye view that allows you to see all four corner handles. Then I'm going to click and drag on this one, the layer mask if we need to. So I'm going to zoom in just so we can see the areas that we need to work on. So we need to work on this area and then the blue outline around her body. So we can adjust that by clicking on the layer mask in the properties panel. You can click on mask edge. If you don't see the properties panel, you can go into window, properties, click on mask edge, and then maybe shift the edge with a negative value and see how that's adjusted. So you can keep adjusting it and making sure that that line is gone, but we don't lose any detail that we want to keep. Also, with this brush selected, I can click and drag here on the hair, and hopefully we'll get a better selection. And now it didn't do that good of a job here, so I'm just gonna leave it like this for now, and then I can come back with the brush tool and fix that in a moment. So I'm gonna press OK, click on the brush tool, paint with white in areas that I want to keep. So I'm just gonna put white in these areas here. And I know I'm selecting some of the sky, but that's okay. I'm gonna get rid of that by pressing X on the keyboard with which swaps the foreground and background color. And with black, I'm going to paint on that layer mask to get rid of this guy here. And I'm not going to take the time to do so now. I will do that after the tutorial. You can see the final image, but I'm just going to go around the entire image and just make sure that everything is masked out accordingly. And in most of these areas, everything seems to be okay. I know we got to work on this area here. And like I said, I'll do that after I'm done with the tutorial and you can see my final result. But for now, we'll just leave it as is. I'm going to press Z on the keyboard, right click, and choose Fix Screen. And what we're going to work on now is extra elements that are going to help our composite look much more on the description. You have to download them from Adobe Stock. They're not free, but you can use a watermark preview to practice on. So I would recommend you doing that just so that you can have a way to practice and learn. So the first thing I got to do is get rid of this shovel. I'm going to click on the lasso tool. I'm going to make a selection around this shovel. And as you can see, it's not very accurate. Okay. Then I can hold Shift and Backspace. Or you can go into Edit. And Photoshop will fill in those pixels and make the shovel disappear. I'm going to press Ctrl D, Command D on the Mac to deselect. And this is what we're going to work with. The first thing that we need to do is mask out the snow from the ground. So I'm going to go into the Channels panel. I'm going to look for the channel that's got the most contrast. In this case, it's the blue channel. I'm going to click and drag on the blue channel and drop it here in the new channel icon to duplicate it. Now with the duplicate channel, I can start making adjustments to it. The first thing I'm going to do is fill with white on the areas that I want to keep for sure. So with the lasso tool selected, I'm just going to click and drag and make a very rough selection on the areas that I know for sure I want to keep, which is all this top part. Now that I have the selection active, I can fill with white. White is currently my foreground color. To fill with the foreground color, you can hold Alt and Backspace, Option, Backspace on the Mac. Then Ctrl D, Command D on the Mac to deselect. Now we gotta work on this bottom part. There's a feature in Photoshop called Apply Image. If you go into Image, Apply Image, what Apply Image allows you to do is to take an image and apply it onto itself using a blend mode. In this case, we're taking the blue copy, applying the screen blend mode onto itself. So notice what happens here on the snow on the edge. It essentially turns white, which is what we want. You could also, of course, apply a multiply blend mode and it'll give you a different result. In this case, I think I'm going to go with screen, and then I'll just work on the edges in the next step. So I'm going to press OK, and what I'm going to do now is go into Image, Adjustment, Levels, and bring the levels to the right, the dark values to the right, so we have more contrast between the snow and the ground. And remember, we're going to be making a selection. Anything that's white in this screen will be selected. Anything that is black will be deselected. So I'm going to drag this one over to the left a little bit. I'm looking at the edges here. And maybe drag this one to the left as well. And press OK. Now, what I'm going to do now is click on the brush tool, select black as my foreground color, so I can click black. I'm going to increase the size of my brush by clicking on the right bracket key on the keyboard. And I'm just going to paint with black. And again, you don't have to be very accurate. As long as you get close enough, it should be good. And I'm just painting these pixels away, which represent the floor. And once again, I'm going to go into Image, Adjustment, Levels, and darken up some of the darker pixels and brighten up the midtones a little bit. And press OK. So this selection looks like it'll work. So I'm going to press Control, Command on the Mac, click on the blue copy icon to make a selection around it. Go back into the Layers panel. On the background layer, which is the only layer that we have in this document, I'm going to click on the new layer mask icon, and notice now that the floor is no longer there. Now, it's not a perfect selection, but it's going to work because the color of the floor and the color of the table are very similar colors, and I think we're going to be able to get away with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to simply click on the layer, select the Move tool, click and drag the layer over onto the other file by hovering over the tab and then coming down and releasing, and there's our file. It's a really big layer, so we're going to need to scale it down. Control T, Command T on the Mac, transform. We can't see the corner handle, 0, Command 0 in the Mac. There's the corner handles. And now I'm going to adjust them accordingly. I'm holding Shift as I'm clicking on these corner handles to keep the file constrained. The angle's not really matching my scene, so I'm going to right click on it and choose Flip Horizontal. And from here, I can match the scene a little bit better. And I can even distort it if I want to. Maybe right click on it and choose Distort just to get a better perspective of the scene that we're working with. Maybe something like this. And press enter when you're done. Now that we have this file in place, I'm going to press Z on the keyboard, right click, flip to screen. Then I'm going to press V on the keyboard to get the move tool, and maybe I can move it around if I need to. And I'm going to click on the new group icon to create a new group. I'm going to click and drag this snow layer in there. I'm going to collapse it, and now it's in that group. Next, I'm going to hold Alt, Option on the Mac, and click on the layer mask icon to create a black layer mask which hides everything. Then, with the brush tool, I can paint with white on this layer mask to start revealing some of that snow. So I'm going to use the bracket keys on the keyboard as I work to increase and decrease the size of my brush. So I'm just painting with white, just bringing in some of that snow. And if you make a mistake, you can press X on the keyboard, paint with black, shape snow a little bit better. Maybe something like that. What we're going to do now is work with different elements. So I'm going to open up the libraries panel, and I'm going to open up this file here, which is these snow elements that were also downloaded from Adobe Stock. By the way, if you don't have Photoshop CC, you won't have the libraries panel, but you can still download the watermark previews onto your desktop and bring them into Photoshop as you would any other image. So you can still work with the previews. So what I'm going to do now is just select one of these elements and bring it over to the file that I'm working with. So I'm going to click on the lasso tool, and I'm going to select this element first. So I'm going to select it, go to Edit and Copy, or you can press Ctrl C. I'm going to deselect that element, Ctrl D, Command D on the Mac. Go back into the file that we're working with, and I'm going to paste it here. Ctrl V, Command D on the Mac, and there it is. As you can see, it's a high resolution file, which is good. I'm going to change the blend mode to screen so the black pixels disappear. Zoom back in, and I'm going to just rotate it and make it fit accordingly. Now in this case, I'm going to flip it horizontally. So right click on it, flip horizontally, and keep rotating it. So maybe something like this. And I can scale it more if I need to, or rotate it more if I need to. So whatever distortions I need